Hi, everybody. Welcome to our first webinar of 2024, how NBS can help you in 2024. And I'm recording this in our new webinar room, so hopefully the sound quality is good and the video quality is good, etc. So my name is Stephen Hamil. I'm Innovation Director here at NBS. And this webinar is going to last about 45 minutes. I think everyone's muted, but as always, please put as many comments, ask as many questions as you like in the chat. Every single one gets read and we'll respond to them as well. This webinar is going to be sort of split into two parts. We're going to look at NBS Chorus. We're going to look at how we're going to help you write early stage specifications. We're going to look at the advanced spec writer bundle that was just released like very late last year, and also the NBS specification consultancy offer. But rather than jump straight into Chorus, we're going to start with NBS Source. So first half of the webinar on Source, second half on Chorus. And here we're going to look at structured data, sustainability, and sponsored listings. So we're going to try and do as much as this with live demos as opposed to just PowerPoints. So on the screen here, you see NBS Source, which is the NBS platform with sort of tens of thousands of manufactured products within it. And the first thing we're going to look at in terms of NBS Source is the structured data. So we've focused a lot in the last 2 or 3 years, just making sure that the data quality is as strong as possible. And for this demonstration, we'll just have a look at clear bricks. So you see as I start a search here, you'll see the same naming convention as the unit class systems and products table that's used here for the categories inside of NBS Source. So clear bricks. Here you can see there's 419 products. And when I click on it here, you see the 419 products are listed, and you see what the classification is for clear bricks, which are sort of within the parent category of masonry walling units. Now, 419 is a lot of bricks from a number of manufacturers. So how do you get down to the bricks that sort of really matter to you? And that's easy in Source because we've structured the data so well. So if I look at just this first brick here from the manufacturer, Van der Sanden, and jump down to the specification data, you'll see. So this is the NBS specification clause, technical characteristics on the left-hand side, and the manufacturer's got the data that's sort of aligned to the correct construction product standard, and you've got the right enumerated values, you've got the right units, whether it's Newton millimeters squared, millimeters, R1, R2, R3. And that's true for every manufacturer that comes into the NBS Source system. And what that allows us to do is allows you to do comparisons, allows you to do sort of quick filters. So if I just scroll down the left-hand side, you see there's lots and lots of filters now, a bit like Amazon, a bit like eBay. But if I come down here, you can see the specification filters, and they're the technical characteristics that we've just sort of looked at. So I could say, like, I want a mean value of T2 for the tolerance, and that's going to drop the number of bricks down and just pick another value for the specification filters here. Let's say I'm going to go for the F2, S2 durability designation, and we've dropped down to sort of 88 bricks that meet the specification. Whether this is going to be something I add to the specification, or maybe I'm a contractor, subcontractor, and I'm searching for products that meet the specification. But what I can do now is compare this brick here from Van der Sanden with one from Ibstock, and let's just pick another one from Ibstock here. And what you're going to see that even though it's different manufacturers, it's different products from within that from the same manufacturer, the technical data is sort of consistent there. So you've got sort of T2 for the mean value, and you've got the F2, S2 for durability designation. Another thing that we've done on the well-structured data is just the sort of more generic properties as well. So just things like, if I go back to, let's look at this brick here and go a little bit further down the page. Every single product has these sort of generic values that they actually come from the sort of Kobe schema, but things like color, finish, material, length, width, height. That's the same whichever product you go for. So if I was going to just like, I want to go for clear bricks and pick a sort of clear brick that's predominantly yellow in color, I could just go down to the sort of generic filters here. So you can see it down here, the sort of general ones, and say just, I'm interested in yellow bricks. And you can see visually there, in terms of the photographs on the screen, they're all predominantly yellow. Another nice sort of generic values, the dimensions. So if I was going to go for roof lights and I wanted one that spans over 4.5 meters or what have you, I've got a big set of hundreds of roof lights here, 204 roof lights, and I go down to those generic filters. I've got length here, and I've got this nice little slider control, and I can just sort of slide it up to say 4.5 meters or what have you. And that's going to change the displayed products from the 200 or 300 that we had down to the 3 products that come in that particular size. So we can have a little look here at the sort of lengths and see they all come in 4.5 or above meters in terms of those dimensions. Third-party certification is another sort of well-structured data that we've got. If I go to single layered cold roof systems, this is where maybe the entire system's been tested. It has a BPA certificate or EPD or what have you. There's 14 systems here, but I could say just show me the ones that have, here's one of the new certificates that's coming through the CCPI, Code for Construction Product Information. So that's had the full sort of system checks in terms of the quality of information. And you can see there's two systems that are left there from third-party certification. And other things you might find, there's things like BSI, kite mark, BBA certificates, etc. So if I go to this particular roof membrane system, you can see it's got EPD certificate, it's got BBA certificate, and the CCPI one as well. Okay, the next part I want to show is just the quality of the sustainability information that we've been pushing on with in 2023. If you're a manufacturer and you haven't added this source, please do. If you're a specifier, please keep on sort of asking the manufacturers to provide this information. But if I just demonstrate this one with pile carpet tiles, again, it's another example where there's like lots and lots of products. So 350 products from a whole host of manufacturers here, maybe 15, 16 manufacturers. But like right at the top here, we have a sort of catch-all, has sustainability data. You've got some little icons here as well. If you want to see what we mean by has sustainability data, you can sort of hover across. And that means the manufacturer has declared at least 4 technical characteristics around their sustainability credentials and or has a EPD, Environmental Product Declaration, available. So what I'm going to do is just click that. I'm just going to drop from 350 products to 250 products. And I want to be a bit sort of tighter on this and say, look, it must have an environmental product declaration as well. So there's 250 products that have some sort of quality sustainability information, but let's filter it even further to just the ones that have EPD certification. And then you can go even further on the filtering using the sustainability data filters. So let's say I don't want the carpet to travel halfway around the world and I want to have a sort of maximum level of embodied carbon. I could say, look, I'm just interested in products that are manufactured in the United Kingdom. So you can see these filters building up here on the left-hand side, and we've dropped down to 100 products now. And in terms of embodied carbon, a little bit like the length filter that we saw earlier, when it's numeric, you've got a nice little slider control, and I'll drop that to say like less than 6 kilograms per meter squared in terms of carbon equivalent. And you can see that's dropped down to like a number of different products from different manufacturers. So Bermatex, Milligan, let's just compare. Actually, there's one here from Shaw. When I click compare here, and just drop down to the sustainability property set. So all the way down past the technical characteristics. You can also see manufacturers add additional properties over and above the NBS clause. You've got things like caster chair rating here, which pile density, which isn't in the generic NBS clause. So like the NBS clause is that sort of minimum spec, but you can always add more properties. But in terms of sustainability here, you can see all three of these are manufactured in the United Kingdom, and all of them have embodied carbon of less than, I think, was it 6 kilograms, 7 kilograms that are had in the filter. And right at the top there, I miss it when I scroll down, but you can see that all three have environmental product declarations as well that you can click on and download, keep a copy of the sort of handover information for the client. Now, the final thing I'd like to show on the NBS source side is maybe more for the manufacturers than the specifiers, but it's how you can get your product sort of listed a little bit higher up the page on that sort of initial landing for the specifier. So before filters have been put in place, we've just released an offering called sponsored content, and that allows you to get your products in a number of places that little bit sort of higher up and in front of specifiers. Again, very similar to what you see on Amazon, Rightmove, eBay. But if you go for the sponsored content package, you get products on the homepage. So you can see we've got hand dryers, baths, looks like some sort of insulation, some sort of decking boards. But you also get your sponsored products higher up when there's a relevant search. So if you search for insulation, you'd see the insulation products that are sponsored. Just taking up the first two places here. So searching for hand dryer, imagine the manufacturer, you've got sort of small screen on the left, wide screen on the right. The manufacturer Dyson gone for the sponsored content option. You just got the sort of two places there at the top. If there was more than one manufacturer going for the sponsored content, then it randomizes it. So you might see Dyson hand dryers and Hamil hand dryers, and it would sort of be fair to both manufacturers. Then you've got the natural search results underneath that. When you get to the search results page on Source, again, a bit like Amazon, a bit like eBay, the top couple of results there are the sponsored ones, which could be one manufacturer, or randomized share of manufacturers if there's more than one. Again, you can see the search there is for hand dryer. It's always relevant. If you search for decking boards, it would be decking boards. If you search for insulation, it would be insulation. And that's true also for things like literature and the case studies and the inspiration area as well. So it's ideal if there's a particular product as a manufacturer you want to promote, or maybe you're taking new products to market. It's a fantastic way to get in front of specifiers, tell the story. And I think that the real sort of key nice thing here as well is whatever happens in Source, the Source website, it also happens in Chorus. So you see there, it's specifying hand dryers. This is the place where you just click the button, drop straight into the specification, and you've got that sort of top space there with the Dyson product. And it's easy to do for manufacturers as well. It's all controlled by the manufacturer. Sort of in your package, you go for how many products, how many case studies, how much literature you want, and then you pick. So you could be a manufacturer of sanitary ware and you put one of your baths there, one of your wash basins there, one of your bidets, one of your shower cubicles, etc. And you can sort of spread the products around. So once you've set it up, it's sort of fully self-serve in your sort of manufacturer partner platform area. Okay, the second part of the presentation now is on NBS Chorus. So we're going to look at three things in NBS Chorus. We're going to look at the early stage specification library, which is going to be released very soon. We're going to look at the advanced spec writer bundle, and then we'll finish off by looking at the specification consultancy offered by the NBS Schumann team. So for the early stage specification library part of the presentation, I'm just going to go through PowerPoint slides because the contents there are thereabouts, but I think I'm going to try and talk more about the principles than do a live demo. But in terms of the problem we're trying to solve here or help our specifiers solve is, I think NBS has served the industry very well for 50 years in terms of writing robust, up-to-date technical specifications. So for like prior to construction, that technical spec, where you're going down to the level of, it will be this brick, the following wall ties, the following ceiling tiles, insulation board, etc. But the challenge I think specifiers have is specification decisions start much, much earlier. Almost as soon as you receive the brief from the client and you start working on the project, you're making specification decisions in your head, and they're getting put on whiteboards, emails, Teams conversations, Excel spreadsheets at that generally the higher level. And what we've heard over the years and lots of focus groups is that, is it possible to start creating the specification in the NBS system sort of very early in the project and then slowly develop that through the timeline? So early on, you might be thinking not in terms of wall ties and insulation boards, but in terms of like how many wall types you're going to need on this project, or whether you need a flat roof or a pitched roof. So that's what we're sort of trying to solve here. And the benefits of starting the specification much earlier is you're capturing the brief, maybe conversations with planning authority, etc., in that one system. At an early stage, you're fixing the performance that you're then going to do your design of. So what is the fire performance of the entire wall, or the acoustic performance of the entire floor before you're making any material choices? And if you can capture that and write it down, then it's much better communication with the other consultants, whether that's architects sharing information with building service engineers and structural engineers, or vice versa, but also sharing information back with the client or with the planning authority, with the cost consultant. If you can communicate early, that's where you can make the biggest influence on good design, keeping within budget, sustainability, strategy, etc. And we think if you do this in NBS, it's that ideal route into the technical specification development. So it's all sort of matched up, it all flows. And then as the design develops, as you're checking things on site, maybe verifying any substitution requests, you can always go back against those original requirements that were sort of fixed at that elemental level. So just a couple of illustrations here. Early design stage, you haven't decided on any materials in a project. You're thinking about the design in terms of the spaces that are needed to sort of respond to the client's brief, and then how you serve those spaces in terms of the elements that sort of wrap around them, or the services that are needed in terms of heating, cooling, security, etc. And you can split those elements into the sort of different types, because you want different performances in the different spaces. So you might want like fantastic daylighting in the restaurant area. You might want great sort of acoustic performance in the plant room, or fire performance in the kitchen, or what have you. So you can see here that at this early stage, you're sort of splitting the design already into what walls, what floors, what roofs, in case those spaces. So using the NBS early stage lab, you can start to capture those very early in the project and start to talk about the performance that's required at the elemental level, whatever technical design solution you eventually then choose. So all three of these collections of systems, whether it's sort of masonry or steel frame or timber frame, could give exactly the same performance requirements. But that's when you do your optioneering, you maybe talk to the cost consultant, the client, the planner, and have those sort of conversations like, am I within budget? Where are things in terms of embodied carbon? And we've got some exciting things to come on this as well, I'll show in a second, but we are in partnership with BCIS, which is sort of one of the RICS companies that have sort of market leading information on costs on carbon. So you can look at relative cost and carbon working alongside the cost consultant. So how this would look in the NBS specification would be, you're not specifying any systems, you're not specifying any products, but you're starting very early saying, look, we do have a wall type. And you might give it a type code. You might add a little information in terms of the location and the in the building, and then just a real sort of brief description at the start. So playing the brief back to the client, sharing this with you. So core consultants. And then as the design process progresses, this is where you're going to be fixing the elemental performance. So you might make some material choices early on, like not every single one, but you might be going for a particular tile cladding on the outside. But here you can see we've got a sort of fixed performance for things like energy, fire, durability, acoustics, water performance, etc. Maybe some notes that you're sharing with the cost consultants, cross-reference the sort of BCIS codes. And at this stage, you've made no firm decisions about the systems that form this wall, but you're capturing it in the NBS system. So there's a specification for a particular wall type. You'd maybe have 60 or 70 different things in that outline spec. And then you can continue to grow it. So you've done the design a little bit more. You've maybe fixed the systems that you intend to write the technical spec for. And all the time you're collaboratively working with other team members, sharing, say, with the structural engineer, what are the different systems that are going to be used to provide that particular performance there. And then the fantastic thing in NBS is you can then add those to the same specification and have them in the uniclass content as sort of bookmarked hyperlinks. So you're going from element wall to the system, rain screen cladding system, to the product, which is the particle board, which forms part of the cladding, which forms part of the wall system. So on the right-hand side, this is what folk are used to in terms of the current scope of NBS content. On the left-hand side, you've got a fantastic sort of table of contents into this that explain the story and the thinking and the design development behind making these decisions. These decisions are being made because this was the client brief and this was the elemental performance that was required. All of these cross-references can be used in the model as well. So if you're using Revit, AutoCAD, Vectorworks, what have you, you can sort of cross-reference at any stage in the design using our plugins as well. And we have a cores library common arrangement of work sections, a new sort of outline section called B60 that goes alongside and is comparable to the elements and the uniclass content. And this content's there for all of the disciplines. So you've got things like walls and floors and roofs and openings that typically an architect would specify, but also for building services engineers, landscape architects, structural minor civils as well. And that could be done independently. So if you're a building services engineer, you could have the early stage spec and just write an outline spec for the items you've got that early design responsibility for. Or if the architect maybe is the lead designer, is using this library, they can invite the other consultants to come in and capture all those notes across all of the elements and functions across a sort of multidisciplinary design team. So this is how it would look in the software itself. And you can just see there that you get a big clause. You can park off whatever you don't have to create the biggest outline spec ever. You can just click the P button and park off what you don't want to say. And as you go through it and click on the clause items, you get the guidance on the right-hand side. I've deliberately taken the classification code away on this screenshot because the content broadly looks the same, whether it's common arrangement of work sections in the B60 work section, or this is an elemental clause in the uniclass library. Now, when you go down, what you see there's just a little BCIS clause item. There's a hyperlink on the right-hand side that takes you to a sort of comparison chart saying, like, as an architect, you're not getting paid to do the entire cost plan, but you do want your designs to stay in budget. You do want to have a conversation early on with the cost consultant. So when you're thinking of something like, what are we doing on this flat roof? You can scan down here and use the values from the BCIS library for a sort of typical building in the UK. I think it's a sort of 4 or 5 story office block, center of UK, mean location. So saying that, look, for 920 meters squared of flat roof, this would be the typical costs in pounds. construction ongoing. So you can see something like a copper flat roof's twice as expensive as a lead flat roof, but probably starting to become sort of just as much of a part of the conversation as the financial cost is also the embodied carbon cost as well. And again, this comes from BCIS. And you can see there, that's it, maybe the lead roof might be cheaper than the copper roof, but it's sort of 3 times better for the environment in terms of the embodied carbon that typically goes into the manufacturer there as well. And both have construction and ongoing maintenance based on a 50-year lifespan. In the next couple of months, we should get an extra column in here as well in terms of expected life. So like a cheap plastic roof might last for 20 years. Go for a metal roof, it might last for 70, 80 years or what have you. So there'll be a new column in showing expected life expectancy as well. So great content that we're pulling across from our partners BCIS that's fully included in the early stage spec library. So if you're a specifier watching this presentation, you want more information on this, either speak to your account manager or just drop us an email, put something in the comment, and we'll start the year by telling you more about this, which is getting released in the next few weeks. Just to sort of summarize early stage spec before and move on to the next bit. Better capture the brief, fix those performance requirements at elemental level, improve that collaboration across a multidisciplinary team and with external collaborators like planning authorities, like cost consultants, and have that perfect start point to go into the technical spec where you can verify the decisions that you're making at stage 4 or evaluating at stage 5 back against those fixed performance decisions that you made back at stage 2, stage 3. Yeah, so the second thing I'd like to show on the NBS Chorus side is the new advanced spec writer bundle. And that's a sort of add-on to subscriptions, which covers 3 great bits of functionality. You've got details, revisions, sort of cross-practice, project and master search, and variables. I'm going to demonstrate all 3 of those features now in the live software. I think I'll start with this one, the sort of cross-project master and search. So here's my dashboard, NBS Chorus. I've got a lot of projects which I can see. I've got others that my colleagues have. And you've got this search in the top right. So what this is going to do is search across all the projects in my organization and all of the masters. So search for ideal standards. And what you'll see is this returns like thousands of results because it's searching for the word ideal and the word standards in all of the specifications. So every specification I've built up over the last 4 or 5 years in Chorus there, it's finding like ideally reference standards. What I'm going to do is to drop that search results down a bit. It's just search for exact phrase. And you'll see now it's just going to maybe ideal standard without the S. Let's just do that again. So search for ideal standard, singular, exact phrase. And it's going to drop down from those sort of 10,000 results just to 2 results there, where the manufacturer ideal standard has been specified once here in the Lakeside Restaurant project and once by my colleague Chris Vickers on the same account for a webinar that he was doing. I could drop it even further by saying like my projects only, and it'll just show this one here. It's a really easy way to search all of the specification knowledge you've built up and pinpoint the exact sort of item you want to find. Like another example here, search for Skyway, particular roof light. I may specify that I sort of want to query which jobs did I specify this on. And you can see that particular roof light there, the Skyway manual access flat glass has been specified on the Big Factor headquarters and the Newtown school project. And you click on it and it goes into the spec and takes you to that precise clause there, which you can see there. So it's coming through and you're finding where you specified that. It works also really nicely with sort of product references as well. So I might know I've specified like a particular door hardware thing for Acer Abloy HD72, and that's taking you straight to the item. So yeah, all practice search going across your projects and your masters as well. So if you want to find something that's in your sort of managed information and then quickly reuse that on a future project, you've got the Skyway roof light specified in the building fabric office masters here. So the first thing in the advanced bundle there is the search all of your projects and masters you've built up over the years in NBS Chorus. The second thing I'd like to demonstrate is variables. And that's where you want to get that consistency in your specification writing by creating common phrases that you can control at a project or at a practice level. So I'm just going to jump to the Lakeside restaurant project here. And if I come in, edit variables, these are all sort of short sort of code words, if you like, which when you put them in your spec will resolve to what the value you want to be is. So you've got here variable finish to be confirmed, TBC, that's going to say to be confirmed everywhere where that variable is. I'll demonstrate in the live spec in a moment, but let's say if I want to have a variable, let's just say samples. So if you want to have the rules on samples to be defined once in the prelims, you might want to say to all your colleagues writing the spec, always use that phraseology when referring to samples. And that becomes a variable that you can use in the spec writing. So we've got one variable here. I'm going to demonstrate var finishes, var samples is the other one. You've got some of the project things also, like the project title and client. But yeah, let's just jump into a specification and demonstrate that. So I'm going to go to the pinboard spec that I know has a variable in. And you can see their color to be confirmed has got a sort of little circle around it. And that's because that's a variable. Now I hover over it here, it says var finishes. And if I click inside it, you'll see the to be confirmed changes to the little chip. And how you get that chip in is that little squiggle sign. So if I come here and click shift squiggle, I get to use all of those variables that I've set up there at the project or organization level. So there's my one var samples. You've got things also like the project location or the project description or project code, client, etc. But if I click var samples, just like what you see there, it puts that chip in. And then when you save it, when you print it out, it will display sort of the text that you saw, the full text that you saw earlier. So click away from it there, and the var TBC is changed to be confirmed, and the var samples has changed to samples to be flagged as dealers in the prelims. I'm going to change the color. So let's say to be confirmed is the language that's going to be used all the way through to, say, contractor involvement. And then you want to be confirmed to say instead as finishes schedule. And you might specify that 60 times in the spec. You can go and change it once and it'll update it in all 60 locations. So if we watch what happens here, color to be confirmed, I'm going to go back to the variables now. So go to the level of the project, edit variables, go down to var finishes to be confirmed, and change this now as per the designer's schedule. Oh, hopefully this is a good example, but I imagine your minds, you think of better examples than I'm using here. But var finishes to BC is now going to say as per the interior designer's finishes schedule. So let's jump back to that pinboard again. Pin. Actually, I'll demonstrate search and spec whilst we're in here as well. People might have noticed there's a little search bar here as well. So that searches within just this specification. So if I search for pin board here, I'll find the same clause. And that goes as sort of like a little deep search in here. So let's drop down. There it is. And you can see their samples is now saying samples to be, no, sorry, color saying as per the interior designer's finishes schedule instead of to be confirmed. So I click in there, you see a change to that chip. Variable, sorry, not chip. So that's the second thing inside of advanced bundles. And the last feature inside the advanced bundles is detailed revisions. And that allows you to go just that little bit deeper into what's changed when you print out, you publish your specifications. And I think there's a sort of, with the new Building Safety Act and having to be a bit tighter on change control, not just saying like this is revision 3, but actually highlight this is how the specifications changed. We think this is quite a big, quite an important one for 2024. So let's just demonstrate this. This is going to help you demonstrate what's changed to the client, to the main contractor, to the building safety regulator, whoever it is. But what I'm going to do here is I've got a package. Actually, I'll show you what I've printed already. So in publication history here, you can see I've got a whole sort of set of sort of packages I've published. The full specification, sort of work in progress through to contractual, and then split it up into a number of packages where I've used a sort of 3-digit code to group roof covering systems or decking systems or what have you. So here I've got a number of different sort of wall systems that are grouped together that I've published alongside drawings and things. So what I'm going to do is republish the wall system and show how it's changed from that original contractual publication. So I'll do this slowly, but I go to the contents page again and I say, just show me the systems that are part of the external wall system package through the way I've used the suffix, the type code. I'm going to select the 3 of those, which are the same 3 that I published at the contract stage. And when I go publish, those that have the advanced spec writer option has this little checkbox here. So include detailed revisions. So we're going to go just that little bit deeper to show how the specifications changed. So I'll say, please show me the detailed revisions and compare it to the first contractual release of that walls package. So it's going to publish the specification as normal, but show how it's changed from what was originally published. So jump next here. You can save it to the publication history. I won't do it because it's just a demo. And then you can give it a title. You can come and change the name should you wish. Add a few notes against it. You can actually put these notes on the cover page if you want as well, so support articles on that. But I'm going to create a new PDF, published from the specification, contractual revision 3, showing the detailed changes between this and the sort of the first contractual publication. So that's printing out, queuing in the background so it doesn't slow down your chorus experience. And then I can come and just have a little look at that. So there's the PDF. Got the information clearly on the cover page. I've got a bit of styling on there as well. But you'll see here that the stick curtain walling system hasn't changed at all. Nice and clear for the contractor. But the masonry wall leaf system and the rain screen cladding have. And you can just click on there. And what detailed revision does over and above the basic revisions feature is it's like a sort of word track changes. So you can see there might be a few typos that have been corrected, but that's nice and clear. The word height's been removed and the word high is been put in instead. But things like here where the contractor maybe originally was requested to submit the type of material for the aggregate, the specifier has changed the requirement to natural sand of a particular size and grade. So red means deleted, blue means added. And a similar thing's had and for the cement, where originally it was going to be contractor's choice, but now the specifier is saying, look, I'd like to see the proposals first, must have EPD certificate, and they've just upped the specification or dropped. I'm not sure what the difference is between 12.5 and 22.5x for the designation. So that completes the 3 features that are in the advanced spec writer bundle. We looked at cross-project search, variables, and detailed revisions. If you're interested in learning more about that, please again see your account manager or drop us an email and pop something in the chat. We can send more information through. Okay, the final thing I'd like to talk about in terms of NBS Chorus is consultancy. But before we go into consultancy, I just want to remind everybody on the call about the existing training offerings we have here at the NBS. So in terms of the training that we offer through the NBS Academy, something that's been really popular over the last year, maybe 2 years, has been the gold, the bronze, the silver NBS Academy Chorus training, just how to use the software and sort of different levels of expertise. And then we also, part of the academy, have the training to get the best out of using NBS Chorus with Revit as well. And if we just look back over 2023, at least 1,200 specifiers were trained through those courses, over 115 presented. And all of on our training page on the website, all of the feedback is always there in the public domain, and you can just go and browse through it. And I sort of regularly do, and it's just always positive. Fantastic set of colleagues in the training team, clear, informative, very well structured, great pacing. Like I look at the webinar feedback every time. There's always 2 or 3 people saying, "Oh, you went too fast, too fast, too fast." These are guys, they'll take their time, they'll go through the software and just make sure you understand everything. Whereas these webinars I do, I tend to go through quite fast to cover a lot of topic, but definitely can recommend the training through the NBS Academy. But the main thing I'd like to talk about is the consultancy that we now offer through the NBS Schumann team. So that's led by Nick and Mark Schumann, who've had years and years of experience working on sort of huge projects in the UK, around the world, making sure that the specification writing is as robust, as is tight, reduces the risk for the specifier, typically architects, on those big risky projects. So they joined us first half of last year, and the team's grown in size now. I think there's over 15 in the team, and they just in the first year they worked on 63 projects across the world. So big projects in London, so UK, Middle East, USA, Southeast Asia. And just to pick 2 of those projects, you've got like this huge one in the Middle East from working alongside Woods Bagot, and this one here in London working with Big. And the Schumann team can work on all aspects of specification, from sort of a few hours doing specification reviews or specification sort of workshops, all the way through to helping you create a robust set of office masters, or sitting alongside the project team writing specification at any stage of the project timeline. And we talked a little bit about the advanced spec writer bundle. We also have a consultancy bundle as well, and we put this link sort of in the email afterwards, or drop a note in the chat. But you can add this to your NBS subscription, and this will give you exclusive access to the insight and knowledge that the Schumann team has. So we just sort of scan down this page as an overview. It's consultancy bundle, where you get a number of tokens added to your subscription, and then you sort of use those tokens throughout the year. Ask the consultancy experts, benefit from the training team that work alongside the Schumann team, CPD training sessions on spec writing, and having online face-to-face meetings with the Schumann team as well. And there's also access to the consultancy resource library with articles, videos, CPD materials to really enhance your team's spec writing skills. So whether you want to do it sort of all yourself with the online support or the training or the consultancy bundles, or actually having the Schumann team working alongside you, there's support at sort of any level that's needed on the specification side now going forward into 2024. And the last thing I'd just like to demonstrate, we've looked at Source, we've looked at Chorus, just Source and Chorus coming together. We want as many as manufacturers as possible inside the system. I believe it helps the specifiers, helps the industry with more robust specs, but we sort of sit there between the architects, engineers, specifiers, and construction product manufacturers. So we've got one little thing in the software now. If I sort of jump back across to Chorus. So what I'm going to do here is jump across a clause where a manufacturer hasn't been specified. So maybe changing unit here. And what I'm doing is I'm jumping in the manufacturer field. And I might look at the manufacturers that are available in the NBS system and just think that I don't want to specify one of these manufacturers or one of these products. I'm going to add my own in. And what you'll see here, we've got a suggest a manufacturer, and we've got this down here as well, so, suggest a manufacturer or product. And what this does is it allows you to add manufacturers in the right format in terms of the editorial style, but it also suggests to NBS you could really do with talking to this manufacturer because it would be useful to have their content in the spec. So instead of selecting from Bob, Rick, Boyko, Dolphin, or Pressolit here, I'm going to click the suggest a manufacturer button here, and you just get a few fields. So I'm going to put pick the manufacturer McGreeny, and something in my notes notes here. Go for their MV64. Maybe changing units. I'd have the website that I want to sort of drop in, and put some details here as well. So this information that you add here, you can add it to the clause, which I'm going to do. And you can also say, look, please NBS, let's add this manufacturer in. They're a good manufacturer. We'd like to see them alongside Boyko and Dolphin, what have you. So when you click suggest here, you'll see that that drops into the right format. You've got the hyperlinks there. You've got the product reference, the right sort of indenting that you get with other NBS clauses. And that suggestion's gone to the NBS team as well. So all specifiers watching, like we try and get as many manufacturers in as possible, but we'd really appreciate it if when you specify a manufacturer that's not in Source, if you do it in that way, then it opens up a conversation between us and the manufacturer to try and get them in the system. Okay, so that finishes off today's webinar. Please reach out if you want to know anything more about what we presented today, but we've looked at the advanced spec writer bundles in Chorus, the advanced revisions, practice search, and variables. We've looked at the early stage specification library, where you can now specify earlier in terms of the elements and the functions that make up the building at the early stage design in collaboration with our partners, BCIS and the Built Environment Carbon Database. What we haven't looked at is designer licenses, but if you do want to speak to NBS about making the most out of sort of your NBS and Revit or NBS and AutoCAD collaboration, we do have designer licenses. We've looked at the sponsored content and also improved quality of sort of structure of manufacturer information as well. So thank you everyone that's attended today. Please stay on for another 2 minutes and put some feedback in the end. It's always great to go through that Excel spreadsheet we get from Zoom and look at all of the comments. So please add a little bit of feedback on how you found today's webinar. If you want to find out any more, it's the nbs.com for our website, and pop something in the chat in the feedback or drop us an email to info@nbs.com. Thank you very much.